Are you fed up of feeling like you're shouting into the void and your customers can't hear you? Well, what if I told you there's another way, a better way, that you can connect with them without having to list all your qualifications? Tune in. Welcome to Inner Business, the podcast that delves deep into the soul of entrepreneurship. My name is Selena Woodward, seasoned business owner, qualified business coach, and intuitive guide. I'm going to offer you actionable steps to increase your revenue whilst we explore how you are showing up in your business. Let's explore the blocks and connect the dots on your journey to business fulfillment. Welcome to another episode of Inner Business. As always, I am your host, Selena Woodward, the business coach who likes to ask, what is your business trying to teach you about yourself? We have been on an amazing journey together over the last few weeks, really diving in to how we can craft a compelling message that really helps us align with our customers and call them in, rejecting any of that energy of come here, love me, and instead really standing in our story, in our customer's story, and inviting them in. We've been taking that story piece by piece, and I think this is our fourth episode. So if you want to, please feel free to visit selenawoodward.com/podcast to find all of those beautiful episodes. This is episode 8 of Inner Business, and today we are going to dive into the guide section. I absolutely love the guide section because the guide section is definitely one of those moments in the StoryBrand framework where some energetic sparkles tend to happen with my clients. Why? Because if you're doing it right, being the guide in your customer's journey is actually quite a vulnerable process. So if I ask you to show up as the guide in your story brand, in the story that your customers are involved in their journey, what comes to mind for you? What does that look like for you? When you step forward and you offer your services, when you say, hey, I can do this for you, do you have this habit of leading first with your qualifications and why they should pick you? If I come to your website, do I read a lot about you and what you've been doing and therefore like pick me? It happens all the time. I see it in social media posts where people are advertising workshops, retreats, massage services. What I see is a conversation about you and what you do. And who I don't see is your customer. Now, it's really interesting. Why do we do that? Why do we lead with our qualifications? Why is that feeling like the most important thing or the thing that our customer really wants? I have a couple of theories about this, Selena, and I think this is quite interesting. And this comes from my experience working in this space, developing my own businesses and having to be able to step into the space of the hero myself. And it also comes from my experience sitting here and working with my clients on this section. It is one of the most beautiful moments for some of my clients where really what I'm asking you to do here is really step into your power and accept that you are the person who can help them. I'm also asking you, like I said earlier, to be quite vulnerable. Because if we start with, I have this certificate, I've got a few on the wall, they are Dare to Lead and Business Made Simple. If I start with my certificates, there's usually a reason for that. One, I think we've been raised in a culture where these things are super important for some reason. You must get a degree and you must get a job, and you won't get a job without the certificate. No one will believe you or trust you if you don't have the piece of paper in the frame somewhere. But actually, that's actually wrong. Because your customer's first question at that moment is not, do you have the certificate? It's, can you help me? Do you understand my problem? Do you have the skills and experience to solve that problem with me or for me? So yes, these things are a part of that, but they are not what we lead with. The minute we lead with these pieces of paper and what we've been doing and who we are, we actually remove a character from the story. And we've spent so much time working with them, haven't we? In episodes 6 and 5. And of course, that character is the main character. And if we remove the main character, we remove the hero, which then leaves us in the position of hero. And as we've discussed before, that is not where you need to be. Heroes are weak. They need help and support. So always make sure that the other very important character is there with you. Make yourself the guide. Like I say, these qualifications are important, but they are not as important as your connection to your customer. I have a feeling, and comment below and share what you think, but I have a feeling here that part of this is about imposter syndrome. And that it's actually, and this comes from my own experience, it's actually safer. It feels safer if I can say, well, of course, because I've got this certificate and I've got this trophy and I've got this story and this press release, because then I can step back and push all of that forward. And I'm not actually being connected to my customer because I'm actually getting them to connect with all the qualifications and not me. Now, if you are a heart-led business owner, that's going to be feeling a bit weird. And so you may even have fallen into the trap of the old shoulds, and you think that you should be doing all these qualifications and you should have all these certificates because that is what you should do to run a retreat or be a florist or make candles or whatever it is that you're doing in your business. But I really want you to take a minute to think about where that's come from and think about the last time you needed some help and support. Did you first of all request a CV? Or did you look in by recommendation? Did you want to make sure the person you were working with had similar values? What was important to you? And I guarantee what was important to you was, can this person understand the problem I have? And can they help me move forward? And sometimes, my friends, our customers aren't really all that clear on what the problem is, which is why we've done all that work. Go back and listen to episode 6. So when we do craft our guide section, we're going to not lead with the certificates or the trophies or anything like that. Like, I have 25 years experience and blah, 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 blah. We need that, but think about that as logos. You can have these little badges that I've got on my wall, your badges, on your website. You don't need to talk about them. They can just sit there. You think about them as customer testimonials. That's the most powerful kind of authority, is another customer repeating back that you made a difference. Best authority on the planet. You do not need to lead with all of that stuff. Lead instead with empathy. That's right. Empathy. What does that even mean? It means that in the stories where there are heroes and guides, we never, ever, ever start with the qualifications. We start with a connection. Let's think about Star Wars again. At what point in the Star Wars franchise did we have an entire backstory of Yoda and how he became Yoda? Did we interrupt the narrative of Luke Skywalker to confirm that Yoda is really a Jedi Master and to review his qualifications? No. Why? Because that would be boring. It would disconnect us from the actual narrative of Luke and the story that we're watching, and it would break our brain, right? We just wouldn't watch that. Now, there probably is, I don't know, an origin story for Yoda, but that's in its own narrative on its own. And that in itself will be a place where Yoda is no longer the guide. In that story, Yoda would be the hero, and he would be going on his journey and he would be learning all the things, so that when we get to the bit with Luke, Luke is the hero and Yoda is the guide. Do you see? So you do not break the narrative to start proving that you've got all these qualifications. It just distracts us from why we're here, and it turns us off straight away. It's a little bit pushy salesman rather than leaning in with empathy, which is what I know you want to do. But I also want you to acknowledge that the reason you are the guide is that you've been there, you've done that, you are qualified, and you can help. So how do we mix that up, Selena? How do I say all of that then without going, I've got this certificate, 20 years experience? You do it with narrative. You come at it through the lens of empathy. Now, often this starts with phrases like, I see you. I understand because I was where you were once. This is what happened for me. This is why I trained in X, Y, and Z. This is why. Can you see how we're weaving in the qualifications? This is why for the last 20 years I've been working with people just like you. But the narrative, the focus is not I. It's you. You're talking to your customer the whole time with empathy. So I don't want to read, I am Selena Woodward and I have already created a 6-figure business that I grew to a national level across Australia with 6,000 customers. Nobody cares except you. You might think that makes me sound really, really like I know what I'm doing. And I do know what I'm doing. However, if you're not building a software as a service business, which talks where you want to grow a national business, that's not going to be relevant to you right now. What's relevant to you right now is I've been there. I have struggled to move from English teacher to business owner to the leader of a team. I've been on that journey. That appeals to you, doesn't it? Oh, really? What did you learn? I would love to share my journey with you. I would love to fast track you by skipping forward to this bit. Let me show you how to do this quickly. That's what Yoda does as well, isn't it, for Luke? Okay, so that's what we want. We want that story. I want to say, I see you. You are feeling like this. I have felt like that too. That's why I went into this. Here are the results that I've had. Wouldn't you love to come on this journey with me? The guide section is an invitation to hold your hand and go for it together, like journey together. You've already talked about who they are and what they want and why they're struggling with it. And now you're saying, I see you. I get that. I understand. Come with me. Let me show you how to move forward. Why don't we take a moment to do a visualization that should help this just settle, and hopefully at the end you can sit and write out a brilliant paragraph. It only needs to be a paragraph. Are you up for that? Now, if you're driving, please do not close your eyes. Maybe just tune in and listen, pay attention to the road, but come back to this later. If you're not, then let's just take a moment now to just take a breath and close our eyes. Let's just get ourselves really comfortable in a seated position with our feet planted firmly on the ground. Let's get grounded. Let's take a deep breath together, really expanding those lungs. Let's take another big deep breath together. Really feeling your feet firmly planted on the floor and the weight of your body in your chair as we take a third breath together. Okay. As you're feeling all the tension in your body just melting away now. I want you to visualize in your mind's eye a timeline, a road stretching out before you, and some way along that road is a person. This person is your customer. They're not facing you. They're actually looking to the side of the road, looking off to the side of the road. They're kind of stuck. They're not moving forward. They're not moving backwards, which is great, but they're not moving forward. You are going to have a look at this customer, walk up to them, stand next to them, and take a moment to see what they're looking at. Now you know what their problem is. You have spent time in episode 6, episode 7 of the podcast. So what are their problems? What are they seeing in front of them? What is it that they want? What is the thing that is getting in the way? And how is that making them feel right now? Perhaps what you're seeing in the distance there are the blocks. What is playing out in front of them? How does that make them feel? Look at their body language. Are they hunched over and tired and heavy? Are they sad? Have they just got no energy left? Is there a flicker, a glimmer of hope there? Oh. Really tune in. Now I want you to stand back to back with this customer of yours. So you are looking off the edge of the road on the other side. And I want you to take a moment to remember. Get vulnerable. What was it like for you when you were stood here? Now, you may not have exactly the same problem as them, but you have been here. Perhaps you've witnessed this in an old workplace and you have watched other people have this problem over and over again and you made it your job to solve that. Or perhaps you were the person standing where they were. But I want you to connect and I want you to see the experiences that you have had that help you connect, empathize, and relate to where this customer is right now on this journey. Let's look at your journey. Notice what you see, the people, the environment. Notice how you feel. Did you feel stuck? Were you frustrated? Were you overwhelmed? Did you have a strong sense of social justice that this was just plain wrong? You were stuck once, but you chose to do something that this customer hasn't yet, that helped you move forward. Right now, you two are equals in some way. There is some connection here. Lean into that connection just for a moment. Imagine a big ball of light surrounding both of you on the road, back to back, looking at different stories, and understand the connections. What is the same? What is different? Take a deep breath here. And now move forward. Leave your customer where they are. They're on their journey. You've been on yours. Move forward along that road. Take the steps to where you are now. And on your way, notice every course you completed, every conversation you had, every decision you made, every roadblock you pushed through. Acknowledge that along the way. Keep walking through each problem, each solution, each fail, each getting back up and carrying on until you are where you are right now. Keep walking. I wonder what you see. There's that decision to learn StoryBrand. There's the decision to implement it. There's the results and sales. That looks good. Keep moving, keep walking forward. And when you get to where you are right now, with all your certificates, all your experience, turn around and look back at the customer who is still standing on the road and looking the wrong way, looking sideways. If you wanted to call them to you now and invite them to walk the similar path that you just walked through, all those fails, all those learnings, all those courses, what would you say to them? Hey, I see you. I've been where you have been. Now what? As their guide, what do you have to offer them? Feel free to weave in a qualification. Feel free to weave in a year or two of experience, but not until you have empathized with where they're at right now. Are they turning to listen? Do they feel like you see them? They don't know that the qualification you have is going to help because it doesn't connect to where they're at right now. Show them that you see them. And when you feel that energetic connection forming between you, take a really deep breath. What does that feel like? Do you trust that you really are the one who can help them? Is it okay to say, I didn't know what I was doing and I learned that and I had success and I want to help you? Is that okay? Notice what's coming up for you. Where does that feel in your body? Where is that coming up for you in your body? Make a note. Now let's take one big deep breath together. And come back into the room when you're ready. How did that feel for you? It's an interesting thing to do, isn't it? Do you see what I mean about the vulnerability of being the guide? And how different the vibe is when you are willing to open your heart and say, I see you. I've been there. I understand. Here's what I did. Do you want some help? That's very different to, I have this qualification, this qualification, this qualification, this many years. That's a CV. Your customer is looking for someone who can solve their problem, who can walk alongside them. And until you take the moment to connect your story and theirs, you are still the hero. Oh, I'd love to know what came up for you. It's very vulnerable. Feel free to email me, head to selenawoodward.com, or if you're feeling brave, please feel free to comment below this video. What did you experience there? Because I bet if I ask you now to go read your about section, or I hope the front page of your website should have a short paragraph that talks about you, but really your customer. I see you. I understand. I felt this too. Take yourself on that road with them. It is really important that you have walked ahead and that you have those skills and those qualifications. But remember, you can show that with badges on your side, with testimonials, and in the narrative that you share about how you got to where you are. A very short narrative that your customer can relate to, feel empowered by, feel inspired by, and just be called to your side. That's what we want, right? It's not pushy, it's open-hearted. How does that feel? Go and look at what you've done in your social posts, advertising your retreat, advertising your workshop, advertising your wares. If you're talking about yourself, do this visualization, get a pen, and give it a go. Share it with us in the comments below. Let's see what happens, what the difference is. I guarantee you, you will not be shouting into the void. Someone will feel called to you. Many of people will feel called to you because your customers are seeking connection. Oh, I can't wait to see what you come up with. And next week, we're going to dive into the stakes for our customers, because it's one thing showing them what their problem is and really letting them see that and connect with that, and showing them we get it and we can help them. And then we have to get them to make a choice. Do they want to stay where they are on that road looking sideways? Or do they want to start walking the path towards you whilst you guide them and support them on their journey? That's it for this episode of Inner Business. I've been your host, Selena Woodward. I look forward to working with you and walking with you next week on the Inner Business podcast. Take care.